What's going on, party people? It is a beautiful sunny day. You can see the sun is there behind the clouds. And earlier this week, I was testing the Energy Wise solar slow cooker, and I had nothing to really compare it to. And so I got this GoSun Sport on sale. It was $150, and so it comes, or I ordered this kettle with it. They call this a kettle. Anyways, the kettle, I don't know how many ounces it holds. Not very many though. So here, let's compare it to a bottle of soda. Probably very similar, whatever that is, 16.9. Yeah, 16.9. So I mean, I don't know how many ounces this thing holds, but it's not very many, for the record, right? And so anyways, all right, so they say, let me first kind of go over some of this basic stuff. This is actually glass, so it's kind of fragile, something to be mindful of. And they say, okay, let's put this in here. You're not supposed to open this until you have stuff in it, otherwise it'll overheat. Anyways, the sun is behind that cloud right there for now, so it's going to be hard to kind of line this up, but those feet need to open more. Let's do that. All right, so it is 138, and that is in there. It's got this little dial you can use to kind of, I haven't quite figured it out yet, but we'll see. All right, man, the sun is finally coming out, and so it is. Let's see if this makes sense. All right, so I had to stick some wood under the legs to kind of get it to bend that way a little bit. It had to come up, pivot to really get the sun is over, you'll figure it out. It makes sense. Anyways, once again, it is, I don't know, 90 degrees today. And so it's also ideal conditions. It's 90 degrees, the sun is shining bright. So this is going to be an ideal test under ideal conditions. Yeah, so the water is just cold tap water, nothing fancy. So I didn't get a temperature of it prior, so that won't really give us a frame of reference, will it? I know people, I myself included, enjoy having hard metrics that we can say, okay, it went from 70 degrees to 200 in X amount of time, right? All right. So this, actually, it looks like it's fairly warm for just being regular tap water. It is 85 degrees. Also, I'm going to try to show you, this is difficult to do with one hand, but let me try. This lid is just like a rubberized silicone or something. It just sticks on like compression. Same thing with when it goes in here. It doesn't screw in or anything. It just kind of sets in there. Okay, let's open this. Oh geez, sorry. I had to open this back up. I tried to close it a little bit because they say it's not good to leave it running empty, basically. It'll fry. Anyways, okay, so 85 degrees or so. Let's give it 20 minutes and see what it does. All right, to kind of, while we're waiting for that thing to cook, to kind of compare and contrast the two that I've tested so far, this one is a lot smaller in volume as far as what it will cook. The other one, you could fit whole pots in. You could probably fit a Dutch oven in there and let it cook just slowly, keep soup warm or something like that. Something like a large quantity of something. This not so much. We will, or I'm planning on doing a sausage test as well. We'll get some sausages and throw them in there and see how well they cook. But that being said, I think only three sausage links would probably fit in there without like overfilling it. You might get, if you're just doing hot dogs, you could probably do more, but like as far as like actual bratwurst go, I think you're going to be pushing it, doing too many more than that. Anyways, so add that into, and that being said, this is just like the sport model. They do make bigger ones, but obviously the bigger ones are going to cost a little bit more. And so there's that. This is actually the, I got the E version of it, which it's essentially the exact same, except the little piece that you stick in there, the little holder of food, has a receptacle for electrical for a 12-volt outlet. So you can plug that into your car or a generator, or they make a little like on-the-go charger, like battery bank type of thing. So you can use it in, even if it's, say it's a rainy, cloudy day or whatever, you can plug that into wherever, or on, say you're taking a road trip and you want it to cook your lunch while you're driving or something, I don't know. I'm just saying it's an option, and I like having options. And so it was maybe 20 bucks more or something like that to get the upgraded version versus the standard version. And so I said, for whatever, a minimal amount of difference, and it gives me another option, I'm taking the option. All right, it's been a little longer than 20 minutes, but we'll go see. Sometimes part of me is like, with thermal expansion, I wonder if that lid's gonna pop off. Oh, maybe not pop off, but it did drip. Yeah, we do. Here, let me see that. We do have a little leaky leak, right? Yeah, see, it's dripping a little bit. All right. Yeah, in just 20 minutes, it looks like we're 125, something like that. We'll give it a little longer. All right, I tried to adjust this a little bit better so it was, yeah, let's start a fire. More focused, but also I tried to angle it better so it wasn't leaking so much. Oh, look at that. You can see heat. Anyways, yeah, it was certainly warm, so we'll give it 15 more minutes, see what it does. All right, it's been another 20 minutes. We'll see if this thing's boiling. I brought a oven glove because that thing got hot. So give me a second to see how. It is still doing its thing. All right, let's get a temperature. Again, this is pretty tough to do with one hand. Okay, we're slowly creeping up. We're at 160. I'll probably leave it in there longer, see how hot it gets, if it ever boils. Yeah, so I had to tip that up even more. If I can be honest, that lid started leaking when I put it, because it was too horizontal. Let me tell you, when it started leaking, that 160 degree water on your hand doesn't feel good. And so we lost a couple ounces maybe. I get it that I'm trying to do this while filming and with one gloved hand, but this is tough to do with one hand. I'll probably, let me see if I can find the tripod. I'll drag the tripod out and set it up. That way I'm not struggling. But then it'll be hard for you to see the actual temperature. You'll just have to take my word for it. All right. Found the tripod. It was in the car, in the Gouda grater. This guy right here. And I made the mistake of touching this. So to be fair, the car, this is just plain Jane metal, right? This is 140 degrees. That's you know, where we're at. Ooh, look at it. It's just cooking. 147 degrees. Well, the sticker reduces the temperature by a lot. Bare metal though, 146 degrees. Yeah, let's check the hood. 140 degrees. How about this? Ooh, that's nice and cool, basically. So, I guess the point of that is, you know, it's hot. All right, there's the tripod set up. We'll let that, oh, the timer's on the phone that I'm using to record. But I think I set the timer for another 20 minutes to just really let it cook. And then I think I got the bubble, or the little sundial right. So we'll leave this like this for until the timer goes off and then check it. All right, it's been 15 more minutes. Let's do a little checky check, because I think this is gonna start boiling. This might be a bad idea. Oh, no, it's fine. Ugh. We'll see how hot this, oh man, that is booking. There's some bubbles, but it's not boiling. It's hit 180. It's still creeping. 190. It's right at 190. Let's give it more time. Let's see if it'll boil. Oh boy, that's hot. So before we even take the lid off, like you can see that's clearly steaming. That means that's got to be boiling at this point. Maybe a bit of a fail, but that thing slid down off of here. I don't know if it got too hot or what, but oh, that was a fail. There goes the thermometer. I guess we'll know. I mean, yeah, you can see the bubbles coming off there. When you do this in an emergency, I highly recommend you don't try to film it. Yeah, we're hitting 200. I'm seeing bubbles, so I'm counting that as boiling. All right, so some additional challenges. Now that it's heated up and it's hot, you can't just cool it down immediately or the glass will shatter, right? Similarly, that kettle holds about 14 ounces when it's topped up, but then, you know, I spill a couple ounces, so it's maybe only like 12 ounces or so. Well, you could probably get 14 ounces, but still, the point is that's not a lot of water, right? Like, you're not going to be on a 90-degree day in full sun. It took about an hour to get that water to close to a boiling point, and to purify water, it would have to boil for, you know, several minutes. So, I mean, I don't think it's a super duper realistic use for purifying your water continuously. That being said, I think it will, like, obviously we're gonna cook in it here in a little bit, but I think it would heat up water in that little kettle really well for like your not your dehydrated, but like your freeze-dried meals that you can cook in a bag. You can just boil, or pretty near boil, 14 ounces of water, and then dump that straight in the bag, let it sit and warm up, and that'll work. I would say that is viable in that. So, I mean, even if there's just, you know, a couple people, it might take a couple hours, but I think it's doable. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, there's about 3 sausages that'll fit on this. This is the piece that goes inside there. I just lined it with foil because I don't want to have to clean it up. And so this It's just a 3.75 ounce bratwurst. As you can see, it's just above 40 degrees. And so I'm gonna put the solar slow cooker together, let it preheat, and then I'm gonna put the sausage in here and set them side by side. And then, so according to these instructions, it has to preheat for at least 1 hour. So I'm gonna let that do that. That's already started, and that might be done in an hour before this even gets heated up. We'll see. I find I learn better while doing something than just, watching a video on it or reading about it. And so with these solar cookers, I've learned you kind of got to keep an eye on them because, the sun's moving, right? And so, oh, yeah. See, we're not quite into here. Let me show you what the shade's not quite hit these guys yet, but it's it's creeping from this giant tree, so we might have to move those over there a little bit, so they don't get covered in the shade. It's only been half an hour, but I thought, I better come check this to make sure the shade's not, they're not hitting in the shade. And so let's just move them away from the shade a little bit. Oh, and while I'm moving these, I'm going to check the temperature on this just for good measure. Boy, that handle's toasty. Okay. Oh, hot. Jeez Louise, that was not wise. Holy cow. Dude, I can't even see that. Is that at 160? It is. It's at 165 already. It's half an hour, and this is saying it's done. Holy cow. You can color me impressed. Half an hour, that sausage is at 165 degrees already. I touched the metal, and let me promise you, it was hot. So, I get it. It's a bright, sunny day, and it's 90 degrees. But that cooked real fast. I had not expected that. That being said, maybe that solar oven is going to actually work really well today. We shall see. But I think we learned a couple of lessons. One, the solar cooker works really well. The GoSun works very well. But lesson two, I don't want to say it works too well, but there is a burn risk, which I had that problem with the kettle as well. Once you pull the kettle out, it's like, okay, where do you set the kettle? If you're outside or whatever, you just set it wherever, but once you bring it inside, it's not insulated in any way. You can't set that on your counter or anywhere. I just set it on the oven, on the stovetop. So it's like, okay, that's rated for heat. Not a big deal. But as you just saw, that thing gets real hot. Every part of it. The handle's hot. Everything is hot on it. And so the last thing you need in a disaster situation is a burn on your hands. That, your hands are going to be critical to do whatever it is you need to do. Burning them, not wise. And so I would recommend some kind of silicone gloves or heavy duty leather gloves or something, if you plan on using this as a key backup method of cooking. Because you definitely don't want to scald your hands. Also, if you have children or pets, that could be a problem too. Anyone who's not mindful and just grabbing that willy-nilly, they're gonna find out. All right, let's give that half an hour and check it. Okay, so over here, the sun isn't hitting this perfectly, but I'd left this, for the full hour just to see. Oh, I can smell it. Oh, come on. Oh, geez, look at that. It's melted the thermometer. Holy cow! Who knows how hot that had to be? They done melted my thermometer. I can smell the plastic. Oh, look, it's burned that. Wow. Oh, I'm supposed to close this because you don't want the sun to melt this thing. Let me show you this GoSun. This is the case it came with. So you've got, you know, a big pocket for setting the actual cooker in. Then in the second pocket, there's, it's like a divided pocket. So you can put, here's the little like silicone cups that come with it. These are dinky. I don't know that these are realistic. I mean, I guess they could be, whatever. Oh, here's a little cleaner that you screw onto your inside piece so you can clean the inside if you need to. There's the electrical and then, you know, instructions and whatnot. So it comes with this bag. Nice. All right. So let me first say, initially, I was concerned that it only held 3 sausages. And I was like, man, if you're going to try to feed 1 or 2 people, this isn't going to work. But that, I mean, all it took was half an hour to cook that 1 sausage was boom, done. And so, I mean, even if it took 40 minutes, let's say, with loaded, you know, with 3 sausages in there, I mean, you could cook so much so fast. Obviously, I left that in there for the full hour, and it melted everything. So that was way overkill. I way overdid it. But that's why we do these tests, so we learn and say, oh, I don't need to do it all that long. This will work just fine. So, so far, as long as you can manage the potential hazard of it being constantly extremely hot, I think it's very viable. I wish the kettle was bigger. The kettle's 14 ounces, and many of those like Mountain House, you know, food pouches require a cup or a cup and a half of water. And so say you're just trying to feed 2 people, I mean, at a minimum, you're going to need 16 ounces between 2 people, basically. And with 14, it's like, yeah, you could probably make it work, but it's not going to be ideal in an already not ideal situation. So I would say the GoSun is very viable. It's incredibly viable. And so 10 out of 10 do recommend it. Yeah. So the question really is, what's the case use, or what are you going to use this cooker for, right? And so in a long-term power outage, sure, you're going to have, well, I don't want to say you're gonna, but I would think most people who are of a preparedness mindset probably have a small Coleman grill, or a camp grill, or a propane grill, or a butane grill, or some kind of charcoal grill. You know, you've got some kind of grill. But the same things that fuel, say specifically propane, you may need the propane for your generator. You may need the propane for a buddy heater, something like that. So the less propane you can use cooking, the more propane you'll have for heating your home or running your generator. And so having a solar option just provides another option that you could use instead of using your fuel. Obviously you could, you know, burn wood or whatever, you know, there's a million things, but I think having one more option that I think is pretty viable is certainly worth it. Typically in a regular oven at 350 degrees, it would probably take even longer. It would probably take over 45 minutes to cook sausages like that. But that did that really quick. Very impressive. let's see if we can move this a little bit to catch more sun rays. Something like that. That should dodge the sun for the next half hour. That being said, there is approximately no chance that thermometer melts. I don't think it's gonna get that hot, but as I think we've pretty well demonstrated, the one gets extremely hot extremely fast. The other one, it just takes an hour to even preheat. Now it's been half an hour and that's barely hitting 100. So it's like, in the time that this is preheated, we could have cooked 6 sausages already. Plus that's another half hour, and that hadn't even hit 100 or maybe 100, somewhere in that neighborhood. That'd have been 9 sausages. So I'm saying, that being said, you could probably fit 9 sausages in there just on their own, right? You put them on a cookie sheet or whatever. I think, it's maybe an unfair evaluation or a side-by-side comparison. They're not apples and oranges. It's a crock pot versus a toaster oven, maybe something like that. It's just after 5:30, so that puts us, oh man, in the shade. Ugh, not good. I guess that's a true to life story though. I started at 3:30, took an hour to preheat, and then now here we are, an hour in, and yeah, pretty much in the shade. So where are we at? Just 100, not even 110 yet. Darn. So I'm calling it, because let me show you the backyard. There's spots of sun, but generally speaking, it's oh, look at the wildflower. Generally speaking, it's hit and miss with the shade. Even let's check back here behind. Yeah, there's some spots of sun. I guess if this was like an absolute worst case scenario disaster where you, in my mind, if you're going through a disaster, you're going to be busy doing something, right? If it's, say, a storm and there's trees down, you might be out cutting up logs or something, or if it's a flood or something like that, or a tornado, you'll be cleaning up the house or putting your roof back on or covering it with tarps or something, right? I don't know. If it's just, say, a power outage and you're just kind of like killing time around the house, you have nothing better to do than to sit and wait for a oven to go in the shade, then I suppose you'll have time to move that thing around. But just as a consideration, obviously the time of day you start using that slow cooker is going to make a big difference. And so it's not today, it is July 8th or 9th or whatever, and so we are in the summer. In the winter you're going to have even less sun and the temperature's going to be even cooler, and I mean, I don't know, I think that thing would have a real hard time keeping up. It barely, even in 2 hours, it barely got hot. So I don't think that thing is realistically viable. I mean, I guess it technically kind of worked on the first test, but maybe if you start it in the morning, and you have full sun for, all the way through lunch, maybe. We'll try it again. So with that slow cooker, the energy wise, it's not like I set it and forget it. You do have to mind it and move it to find the sun. And I don't have children, but if you did have children, I think that could be, if they don't tear it up because it's not in It's not a rugged device at all. But it could be, a good little thing for them to do, to have them go check it every 15 minutes to make sure it's sitting in the sun, because no part of it gets really hot. I wouldn't describe it as dangerous at all. Whereas the GoSun is a little bit of a liability. I definitely, even as an adult, you should use extreme caution. Try not to film while you're doing stuff. Use oven mitts or silicone gloves or whatever. So I don't know. We'll keep doing some tests and we'll see, and then maybe we'll wait till fall, do some more tests, and maybe even into the winter. I don't know. I have a hard time believing the slow cooker is gonna really work in the winter. I kind of don't have any doubt that the Go Sun cooker, that'll probably melt snow real fast if you could angle it right. I don't know though. We'll do some more tests.